Welcome to class, 8th graders. I'm absolutely thrilled to be hanging out with you guys today, because right now, you're stepping into a completely new role. You're not just students anymore. Nope. As of today, you are officially digital investigators. Think about it for a second. You navigate this literal maze of information online every single day. We're talking everything from actual news to, crazy rumors about whether that new TikTok challenge is actually real. But how do you know what's true and what's just totally fake? Well, today, we're going to learn exactly how to figure that out.
So let's just dive right in with a question I really want you to think about. If it's on the internet, it must be true, right? Now, I know you guys are smart. You're probably sitting there shaking your head no right now. We all know this is a total myth, but honestly, it's a trap that is incredibly easy to fall into. The internet is this amazing tool, packed with super useful facts, for sure, but it is also jam-packed with dangerous, disguised misinformation, opinions that are just pretending to be facts, and, well, outright lies. Here's our game plan for this lesson. We're looking at 1, the internet information maze, 2, the call to prudence, 3, your digital toolkit, 4, spotting hidden bias, and 5, the godly learner.
Let's start with Section 1, the Internet Information Maze.
Let's talk about the real-world stakes here, because evaluating what you read, it's not just some busy work for your English paper. It is a literal life survival skill. Why? Well, first, it prevents us from being misled. If we don't learn how to judge if a website is reliable, we're going to get tricked. Period. Second, it stops the spread of incorrect information. Seriously, have you ever retweeted or shared a post that turned out to be totally fake? By evaluating sources, you actually break that chain of falsehoods. And third, it protects us from making poor everyday decisions. Knowing how to judge reliability is absolutely essential for your school research, your own personal learning, and just your everyday life. And trust me on this, you're going to need this exact skill in high school, in college, and out in the workplace whenever you're gathering or presenting info.
Moving right along to Section 2, the call to prudence.
Now, let's shift gears from just the academic side of this and talk about our biblical responsibility as truth seekers. Listen to this incredible piece of wisdom from Proverbs 14:15. It says, "The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps." Guys, God is calling us directly here. He's telling us not to be simple-minded or gullible. He does not want us just mindlessly scrolling and absorbing every random claim that pops up on our screens. Instead, we're called to be prudent. We're called to carefully weigh and test the information we take in.
So what does that actually mean? Let's break it down real quick. Being prudent means acting with or showing care and thought for the future. It means exercising good judgment. As an 8th grader, you exercise this exact biblical wisdom when you intentionally slow down. You don't just react. You take a breath, you double-check the facts, and you show real solid judgment before you just automatically believe or share something.
All right, Section 3, your digital toolkit.
So how do we actually show this good judgment online? Well, I'm going to give you the practical, investigative tools you need to verify if a claim is actually trustworthy. Tool number 1, check the author's credentials. Credible sources usually have a clear author or a specific organization listed. And, this is key, they actually have experience in that subject area. So the crucial point here is expertise. Let's say you're doing a science project on climate change. An article written by a university environmental science professor, highly credible. An article written by some user named SkaterDude99 on a random forum? Yeah, not credible. Expertise and credentials massively increase trustworthiness. It's the exact same deal with medicine. Taking medical advice from a recognized source, like the Mayo Clinic, is vastly safer than trusting some random unknown blog.
Okay, tool number 2, look at the publication date. Credible sources update their stuff regularly, and what's really interesting is how obvious this becomes when we think about tech. If you're writing a paper on smartphone security, a 2023 article is incredibly useful and totally up to date. But relying on a 2010 article about smartphone security, that's just completely outdated, and frankly, it's pretty dangerous to rely on. Technology changes incredibly fast, right? So up-to-date information is absolutely vital for accuracy.
Tool number 3 is the domain check. I want you to think of a web address kind of like a digital fingerprint. It tells you a lot about who is actually behind the screen. A .gov domain means it's a government site, and .edu means an educational institution. Both of these are generally highly reliable. However, .org, which stands for organization, well, that varies. You definitely still need to check their credibility. And a .info site, that is highly questionable. For example, if you're researching energy, energy.gov is a fantastic, highly trustworthy source. But if you stumble onto energyfactsnow.info, you need to take a much closer look to see if they actually have real credentials or any citations at all.
Section 4,
Spotting hidden bias.
Because sometimes, the danger you face online isn't just flat-out false facts. Sometimes it's manipulated emotions and hidden bias totally disguised as the truth. Have you ever seen a headline like, "You won't believe this shocking fact"? I bet you see them literally every single day. This is exaggerated language. It's just cheap clickbait. Trustworthy, credible sources do not need to do this stuff. They rely on clear language, and they actually cite their sources and give you real evidence. Untrustworthy sites, they rely on hype just to get you to click.
So please remember this rule. Emotional manipulation and a lack of cited evidence are giant red flags for a website's credibility. If a website is trying to make you feel angry or shocked or panicked, instead of just simply informing you with clear language, you must step back. That is a massive warning sign. Take a pause, open up a new tab, and verify those claims somewhere else.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the 4 core steps in your toolkit. 1. Check author credentials. Ask yourself who wrote it and are they actually an expert. 2. Look at the publication date. Is the info up to date for that specific topic? 3. Check the domain type. Is it a .gov, a .edu, or a pretty questionable .info? And 4. Analyze writing quality and bias. Are they using emotional manipulation or are they citing clear, solid evidence? You're going to need these 4 steps to knock out your homework questions this week and honestly, for all your future independent research.
Finally, Section 5, The Godly Learner.
Let's look at the deeper purpose of this entire lesson through the lens of the HeroesMart Academy philosophy. Here, we firmly believe that education must intertwine with biblical morality. Why? Because simply being capable of finding information just isn't enough. In fact, education without morality can actually hurt. Knowledge and intelligence shouldn't just make you a more capable student. They should help you make wise, God-honoring choices in your everyday life, rather than simply making you more capable of getting your way.
Romans 8:6-7 brilliantly illustrates our ultimate goal here. It teaches us, for to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. As you guys grow as students and researchers, I strongly encourage you to pursue academic excellence with absolutely everything you have. But as you do, you've got to keep your mind spiritually minded. Keep your mind centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on making righteous choices. Because keeping the mind spiritually minded is what truly leads to life and peace.
So, 8th graders, I'm going to leave you with this final challenge. The very next time you're online, whether you're doing research for a history paper, reading a news article, or literally just scrolling through your social feed, before you click, before you share, and before you believe, ask yourself, am I being prudent? Because honestly, if we don't demand the truth from our sources, who is going to demand it from us? I challenge you to step up and be the digital investigators this world desperately needs right now. All right, that's it for today's lesson. See you guys next time.